Good morning, Canadian Yarn Hunt. Today we're going to make a heating pad, or a not so magic bag. This is just made with beans I had around the house and some just leftover yarn I was just using up. The next one I'm going to use a full actual color. I just used this to make this one because I had a little bit left over. But I'm going to move you over to the overhead cam and we're going to get started. Okay, so we are going to use a 5.5 millimeter hook. We are using this Chenille Supreme Cozy from Walmart. I happen to get this one from Value Village for $5.99. It is a little tip. So here you can see the price tag. If you do happen to have a yarn used second-hand store. Now, I don't recommend Value Village anymore because you used to be able to buy bags, and I bought a bag even a couple weeks ago. And now you go in and they're just individually pricing the balls. So I don't think that that's actually the way they should go. I liked when they gave you a little bag of crap. So you got a whole bunch of yarn and different yarns. Now they're getting a little more pricey than it really is worth. Like a brand new ball of yarn there is $4. They used to give you a bag of $4 with a bunch of little leftovers. So don't really recommend Value Village as much anymore. I do go in there all the time to grab needles or stuff. I do find that great. Now, there are other secondhand stores that are wonderful. So I do recommend secondhand stores when you're a little bit on a budget. You're not going to get the yarn you want, but you might be able to get something you can use in the future. Like I just got this weekend and I had this ball. So now I can use it. I'm going to use it for this. This is a little more full than I'm going to make it because I do believe it is a little full. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a chain of 25. So I think I have to lift you up just a little bit. There we go. So we're going to do 25 chains. So 1, 2, 3. And I think I can do a 6. I was worried about my size, so I think I'm going to use a 6. If you would like to use a 5.5, it is possible, but I'm going to use my 6 because I prefer a little bit larger hook when I work. Now, I do like the Cozy Supreme from Walmart. I don't know if you've used it. It's very similar to Bernat blanket yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 25. Now, as I was saying, I wanted to finish that before I forgot. Now I'm going to measure this. Oh, do have a little bit more, so I'm going to take off 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. So there's the third, so that should be the right size, which is what I want. You could have done 25. I just want it to be similar to this. I like the cozy yarn because this blanket yarn is not as soft. I actually do find this, I'm pretty sure it's 100% polyester. Yep, if you look right there, it says 100% polyester. I do find this one's really, really nice. It works up into blankets really well. Knit, crochet. I can make, with this ball at 220 yards, I can use 3 of them to make a queen size blanket that fits my full bed if I'm knitting. Now that will triple, so you use 9 if it's for crochet. So if you're going to use a general, now that is not a yarn eating, that is definitely not a yarn eating pattern. I have a yarn eating pattern right here. Both of these patterns were done the other day. This one is a shell pattern. And this one is supposed to be a honeycomb pattern, but I was in a car and it is a honeycomb pattern. It just didn't turn out quite right. But this one is much of a yarn eater. However, as I said, if you watch that daily update, this yarn is Caron Cloud Cakes. And it does say on here, machine washable and dryable. And I will say this is, and I will say this is. I have used this cozy yarn before. It is wonderful in the washer and dryer. It comes out really nice. Pardon me. If you're making a garment, it's going to be weightier, and maybe not the cozy. The cozy is actually really light in yarn form. So with the cozy, you're going to want to, you know, if you use it for pants or a cardigan or something, it'll be lighter. The burnette, you don't want to make into clothing. So what we're going to do, this was half double crochet. I seem to be on a half double crochet kick today, this last couple days. So you're going to half double crochet all the way down. And I think the one I released on the weekend that I didn't manage to get my videos done, the first one was what I called a mini purse or soap sack. You're going to use the very similar pattern here. And yes, this is my second video since that. So what you're going to do, I think I'm going to have to change my light. So give me a second. I'm going to pause and I'm going to get my light fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this one off. Don't mind me. I'm going to turn my other one on. And I think you're going to see a little bit better. And then I'll have to actually try and get that. Remember to get this one charged. There we go. I think you can see a bit better now. And this yarn does have dark spots in it, so good lighting is always a good thing to use with. It is actually the one thing about filming. You do end up having pretty good lighting for yourself to work. Works when you're working with some glow-in-the-dark yarn too, because it's all nicely charged when you're done making the project. So you're going to keep going. And you're just going to keep half double crocheting to the end. And then when you get to the last stitch, we're not going to finish off. We're going to do something very similar. Well, we're going to do exactly what we did with the mini crochet purse. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep going. So you just keep getting yourself to the end. And when you get to your last stitch, and chenille yarn is always hard to see with. It is just what it is. You're going to come out and you're going to, so 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, and 3 half double crochet is what you're going to do. And that will put you on the other side of your work. So you're now on the other side of the chain, and you're going to work across it now. Oops. Sorry, I'm used to doing this in single crochet, not half double. But I was trying to really work on getting, I actually came up with a coffee cup cozy that is my own somewhat patterns. So I used half double crochet for a stitch instead of double crochet. So it is a modified stitch. I will be doing that video very, very soon. And oh, there we go, pull it through. I hope you're interested in checking that out, because I do hope you are a returning viewer. I appreciate that if you are. If you're a new viewer, I appreciate that. I do hope to earn your like and subscription. I hope you enjoy what I do here. I hope you enjoy watching me try to teach how to do this. I hope I'm doing it well. If you haven't checked out a video before, I have been doing knitting since I was about 7 years old, so about 40 years. And I have been crocheting for between 15 to 20. It's probably closer to 20 now, but so I don't know anywhere near all of it. Sorry, something making noise. But I definitely am more than willing to sit here and try and help people learn and learn myself. A lot of it is something that I like to do. I do this all the time. Even if I had a job, this is what I do when I'm not working, because this is my favorite pastime. So if you notice there, I just grabbed my slip stitch, I chained 2, and now we're on the next row. And this one, you're just going to follow your stitches, and you're just going to keep going around in circles. You're not going to have any more increases, which is what you did when you went around both ends. You increased the stitches per row. So this one, what you might want to do, I'll do it now for the video. I don't need it, but some people might, is that was where your chain stitches. So that is where your row ends. This will make your life easier, especially when you're new. It will make your life a whole lot easier to know that is where the row begins. It takes all the guesswork away. You don't have to worry about it, and it's a great way to learn until you get the hang of what you're doing. It's the best tip I can give for new crocheters. Use a stitch marker. They are worth it. They really can help you keep your place. They can help you keep your place of where you're increasing if you need to know that. They just kind of help guide you. Oh, there goes a truck. We get a lot of trucks on our road, even though we're in the country. We're in the country, right in a tiny little town, 3 houses away from a stop sign, so you might hear them. My window is open. It is a gloriously beautiful fall day. Most people would call today beautiful. I can't wait till the rains start. I love rain. I absolutely adore the rains. Those are my favorite days, is when it's raining and it's gloomy, and you just grab your hook or needle and you sit on the couch, and if it's cool enough, you get a fire going. Those are my favorite days. Everybody loves summer. Everybody wants summer. Give me beautiful, cloudy fall days with a little hint of snow in the air. I love this time of year. Best time of year. I know that might cause controversy, but in my opinion, this is the best time of year, and Mother Nature has the best box of crayons. So I adore fall. So you're just going to keep going around. Now, what you're going to want to do, that's pretty much what you're going to do for the whole pattern, is you're just going to keep going around and around and around. You're going to grow this now. And you want to get to, I did this long. What I did is I kept filling it until it got to the size I wanted. And then, so we've got 12 inches, which is pretty much what I want. So we're going to do 12 inches, and I will come back and I will show you how we fill it, how I sewed it up. And as you can see, like I said, I used a different yarn there. I think this one was all one, and then I was almost done, so I just added the little bit of scrap yarn at the end here. But I'm very glad, oops, sorry, I get to use this yarn for this one. So when I get to my 12 inches, what I'm going to do is I'll come back, I'll show you what beans you can use to fill it if you want. If you have a great idea, by all means, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you would use. Pardon me, for a magic bag. For me, I use these white kidney beans that I had in the house for, I have absolutely no idea how long. I'm probably going to go down and grab some more of them because I have chickens, so I always have beans somewhere in my house to feed them. All you have to do is go to Walmart. It's not terribly expensive. I recommend beans. You can do rice. I think beans hold the heat a little better. And then what you do is you put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, no more than 2 minutes. You don't want to cook the beans. You're just trying to warm them. So about 2 minutes will keep their heat. And this is essentially a magic bag. So you can, if you want to make it wider, you can make it wider. If you want to make one of the long neck pillows, you can make it skinnier. This is just a template for you to use. I really wanted to get it out before we're too into the burr months, I should say. And I do love calling them the burr months. Halloween starts for me in September, so it's a burr month. September to December. I love these months. But they are the times where you're more likely to get injured or get hurt or slip, fall. So or people do hockey, having a heating pad that you can make for yourself, customized to yourself. So if you want, like I said, the longer one, you would do a smaller, longer tube. If you want a wider one for your back, you're just going to add to it. You could do any stitch you wanted. If you wanted to do single crochet, I just wanted to do half double crochet because I actually enjoy half double crochet. It is, in my opinion, it's a stitch you can't see through very well, especially with a chenille yarn. It's a good thick yarn with a tight stitch, which means you're not going to lose any of the inside. However, I do have, as I said, I will have to show you how I do it, because what I do is I try to keep them all inside. I have a way of doing it to do that, so I will show you how to do that when I get there, and I will show you how to finish it off. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I did get this to 12 inches. Oh, there we go. Maybe a little bit longer, but that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this part aside, and we're going to grab some pantyhose. I have cut off the legs, and we're just going to sew up these two ends. So you just need to grab some yarn and thread. I just had some from an old project, so I'm just gonna, you want to make sure you sew it up really, really good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew one leg up, and then I'm going to sew the waist up. Just that way you get rid of the two major ones. And I'm also going to fold it. And I also have the pantyhose inside out. So when I'm done, I'll flip it, and that way all of my seams are on the inside except for the final leg seam. So you just kind of keep going back and forth, doing your best to make sure you get it all seamed up. And I'm just going to get a bit more thread, so I'm going to put it on pause for a second, and I will be right back. So I've got my thread, and what I'm going to do is I've just doubled back this thread a couple of times, just gone back a couple of times that way. I'm going to pull off new thread, and then I'm going to trim that. Trim this. If you can get it right at the needle, you'll be better. And then I'm going to thread this onto the needle. And a lot of times I will grab the other end. Now I'm going to tie these up. I do not claim to be a seamstress in any shape or form. I can hand sew. Machines, I do not have the patience for a sewing machine. I do have the patience to sit here and hand stitch it. I don't know why that's a difference for me, but it's true. I can hand stitch, but it's a very basic. I'm not that great, but I used to make Barbie clothes when I was a little kid out of stockings and stuff like that. So normally you try to make the thread long enough so you can finish the one. It just happened to be what I had rethreaded, so there we go. And then I'm going to tie this end off. As I said, I'm going to tie off the other end, this end, the waist, and then I will come back and I will show you how I fill it. We'll sew it up, and then I will show you how I finish off the Not So Magic bag. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've gotten this edge sewn, this edge sewn. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it inside out, making sure you don't steal your needle. And then you're going to, and this is going to get a little loud. I can't do much about this part. We're going to pour them in. Oh, well, that didn't work quite right, did it? So I'm just going to collect these up and I will be back in a minute. Okay, so I've got them all back in there. So what I'm going to do now, I guess there's a straggler on the table, is I have these black-eyed peas because they're about the same size. Now, you do not want to wash or dry this. Now, the yarn can handle it. I do apologize for how loud that is. The yarn is completely capable of handling being in the wash and the dryer. Your problem is you really, really don't want to have, where did I put it? You don't want to have this get wet, the beads get wet. If they do, just kind of let it dry as best you can, and it'll be fine if you heat it up again. But don't try to get it wet. Don't like put it in water or wash it, or it can't handle that. So now what you want to do, because you're trying to figure out how much you want your pad filled with. I think I want a little bit more than that, but I want it so that it's pretty much flat. So I'm probably going to end up using all of these beans, which is fine. Oh, sorry for shaking the camera. So there's that. There we go. So I'm just going to put those stragglers in. Now what you want to do is you're just going to fold this up and sew this up. So I like to grab it right here at the crotch. And you're just going to keep pulling through until you can get the tie down. Just tie knot. And then you're just going to sew like you did the top and the waist. I like to go very much like this. Now the rest of it should be okay and not come undone because of the way you've done it. The seams should be locked somewhat into place, which is why I like to also go back and do multiple runs back and forth. And that's how I do just a quick stitch. You want to make sure that you definitely double back the yarn at least a couple of times here, so that way it doesn't tighten again. You don't want it to tighten. And then you're just going to go back and forth. And then just trying to see where you might have missed a spot. Just trying to capture all of that. Pull out, making sure it's not too tight, and then you're just going to tie this up. And then we'll go back to crocheting it closed. Now, if you wanted to just, where are my scissors? Just turn around and say, hey, I want to sew it up. You are more than welcome to do that here. This would be an easy place to just sew the one end, this end in here. So you sew it right here. And that way you're done. I'm going to try something a little different. I've never tried before, but I'm going to give it a shot at closing it. Just have to get it untangled. This is where it is a little awkward to work on the tail, so I'm going to crochet one on this side. And then I'm going to go into this side and pick up a stitch and crochet from the other side. So you're kind of making almost like a zipper here. So I'm going to do that again. A bit. Let's see if I can just get the camera over here just a little bit. There, how about that? So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a stitch here and pull through, and then you're going to grab a stitch on the other side and pull through. And you're just going to keep doing that until you get to the end. And it should close the seam up without having to actually sew it up, other than darning in your end. It is going to take a bit of effort. As I said, it's a little bit complicated doing it on screen. Yeah. There you go. And as you can see, you're just moving along this edge. It's not going to be a perfect seam because of the way I'm doing it, but and then you just go over, grab this side, and pull it through as well. I'm going to continue this until I'm done, and I will show you the finished product. I will be back in a second, and I will show you how it looks like when I got it finished. All right. So there you have it. There's the pad. It is, as I said, a little bit larger than the other one I made, but there's the other one. But there you have them both, and you just heat them in the microwave for about 2 minutes. So 2 minutes in your microwave, and you have a nice heating pad to put on shoulders, back, knees, whatever it is that you have an ache and pain for. I do hope to hear from you in the question, comments, or concerns. I hope you leave a like or subscribe, and I hope to see you again. Bye.